Well, good.
182 games, 147 goals. Boro's sixth top scorer. It's Slaven Live. Message, call, or WhatsApp. Have your say. 0330 043 2002. It's Slaven Live with the Dovecot. Spend your evening in the best bar in Teesside.
Right, we'll do that again then. We're like that. Listen, I don't know how many appearances he had, but I'll just do it in my voice and I'll do it. It's like scored in the first goal at the Riverside Stadium. Part of the Midget Gems. Played a fantastic part in Middlesbrough as they went along the things. We're joined by Craig Hignett. It's Higgy Live. Mr. Hignett, good evening. How are you, mate? How are you?
Evening, Al. I'm all right, thank you very much. I've had a pleasant long weekend, so it's been good.
Oh, it's my... So, do you know, I've got my phone on. Sorry about that.
What's going on?
Right, no, I'll tell you what, we'll do that. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to keep the thing on. I'm going to change the camera. There we go, so people can see you. There we go. That's great. So tell me what's been happening, Craig. I know it's been International Week, so not really a lot going on.
No, it's been a really quiet week, but I've had a long weekend. I've been in the lakes, come back today.
Lovely.
Celebrating, believe it or not, my dog's birthday. So he's 8 today, Bruno. And I thought I'll take him for a long weekend in the lakes and walk the legs off him, let him have a swim. So he's had a good weekend. It's been really good, actually. The weather on Saturday was amazing. Like really hot.
Yes.
And then yesterday was really good as well, but apparently I was speaking to some friends up here and they said it was absolutely pouring down here.
It bounced all day yesterday. To be fair, I was over the moon because my job yesterday was to go out. I had to water the garden, feed the garden, because apparently you have to feed the garden.
Well,
it's like you can't just give them water, you've got to feed them as well, my wife said. So
you've got to go artificial, surely.
Yeah, listen, I'd love to, but my wife will not let me even entertain that, doing artificial grass and all that. No way. So yeah, I was over the moon when it rained yesterday afternoon. But then I'm in the middle of doing some upcycling. We're doing like a big. We got this big cupboard with chairs. It's like an old desk with cupboard and chairs for a craft room. She's got a craft room now out the front.
Right.
So I've had to sand it off. I've spent the last week. My fingers are all cut. I've been like, honestly, I'm having a nightmare.
You need the proper stuff.
No, I know. Well,
sander and stuff. You know.
What we're doing? Stop that! Stop! Right, stop! Right, okay. Yeah. So listen, what? Yeah, what? So I've had paint stripper. I've had the burner thing that I don't even know what the names are, but you know, like the torch. I had a torch there, like scraping it all off. But to be fair, I was sanding it. I was doing it with the sander, so the sander was really taking it all off. It was only like coat of paint. But then where is it? Along the edges, you know, like where you've got to get into the grooves and all that, and it's a nightmare. So I've done it. My wife's happy with it now. So the next job tonight, I'm waxing tonight. Wax on, wax off. I know. So, you know, listen.
No wonder you're working here all the time.
So, listen, we're open to calls. We want to hear from you. 0330 043 2002. Give us a call if you would like to speak to Higgy. It can be about anything. I know we're playing Preston on Saturday. But let's start with some of our players have been out and about the international scene. Start with, obviously, Scotland. Obviously, being a Scotland fan, you know, and I listen, I'm proud to be a Scotland fan. I shout it from the rooftops, and I don't care what people say. Stephen Francis Sonley, Rye, we're going to speak to Rye a little bit later on, but he said good evening, Higgy, and happy 8th birthday to Bruno. So
that's nice.
Thanks, Rye. Thank you very much indeed. So let's start with somebody that you know of because you've been watching him over at Liverpool, Doak. Yeah. He's came on a couple of times as a sub for Scotland. Tell us, like, literally, did you manage to see him when he came on?
No, unfortunately, I seen the first game. I seen the highlights. Obviously, when he came on, made the goal. Really lively, made a difference. I haven't seen the latest one, but he's got minutes in his legs, which is an important thing for Boro. He's away training, good quality training as well. So hopefully he'll come back, he'll be a little bit fitter, and he'll be ready to go, because, like you say, Boro have got Preston at the weekend. I'm sure he'll be involved at some point, and the fans will get to see him at last. Yeah, and I know that a lot of I was listening to Talk Sport over the weekend as well, and listening to other stations and they're all talking about this Doak and just saying like how lively he is, how he's unafraid, he'll go straight, you know, he attacks the defenders. That's youth for you, you know, when you're young and it's exciting and you've got no fear and you'll play with no fear. And you're not scared to lose the ball, you're not scared to risk things or go past people. He's got that, and you'll see it straight away in him. So the biggest thing for me is we don't put too much pressure on him. We let him come here, we let him enjoy his football, and if he enjoys his football, he could be a real asset.
And definitely. Basically, like I said, Craig, it's. I just think we've got to literally hope that basically he gets enough games under his belt. And I don't think he's come here just to sit on the sideline.
Listen, Liverpool wouldn't let him come here just to be a bit part. They want him to come here and play some serious minutes and games. And if by the end of his loan, because it's a season-long loan, he can get 30 games in him, they'll be delighted with that, because like you say, he's only played 10 times for Liverpool, and that's not full games, that's being involved in their first team. It's not the same as playing reserve games, the Championship's a proper league where he's going to come up against men, people who want to stop him, seasoned pros who know what they're doing, and it's a learning curve for him as well. But the qualities that he's got are really exciting. I went back to say that similar to Isaiah Jones when he burst onto the scene, and he's gone away from that a little bit. He's a little bit safe for me now. Doak's not. Doak will, if he's 1v1, he's going at people. If he's 2v1, he'll go at people. And he's got the type of pace and aggressiveness with the ball to go past people.
And hopefully that'll rub off on the likes of Isaiah Jones as well.
It's competition then, isn't it? So if he comes in and he starts doing, Isaiah can pick things up on him. I always go back to when Nick Barmby joined, and I looked at Nick and thought, well, he's similar to me. We play similarly. He's the same size. What's he doing that I'm not doing? And you'd take little bits from people's games and you'd add them to your games, or you'd try them out and you'd see what works and what doesn't work. It could be like that for Isaiah. He could come and see this young lad. And the same for Doak. He can see Isaiah, or he can see other people, and he'll take little bits that he likes and little bits he doesn't and try it out.
No, definitely.
And I don't like the footballers that just come in, train, play how they play, don't think about learning, don't think about improving, just going through the motions, really. They're the ones for me who will just be run-of-the-mill players. The players who will go on and do other stuff are players who watch other players and try and do things a little bit differently and try and improve every day.
No, definitely, and I think that's it. Listen, you mentioned there about Barmby and about the same size, and talking about someone. I've got someone lined up. I know he won't mind me saying, but he's probably the same size as both you and Nick. Bandy, are you there? Can you hear us, mate?
Bandy,
the vertically challenged.
Because he's like 5'8", he thinks he's massive. It's scandalous.
Oh man, midget gems everywhere, Higgy. I've just been listening to you there chatting about you and Barmby when he arrived. What a partnership that was, or a trio with Super Jan up front. It was brilliant, that, mate. That was a key part, I think.
Nick was amazing.
History, really.
Bandy, Nick was amazing when he came to the football club. You knew straight away what a good player he was because of his football intelligence. You have to see in training, things he'd do in training or positions he'd take up. He was just so easy. For me, anyway, he was so easy to play with. You knew what he was going to do. And the easiest thing in the world to say about a footballer is he done what you thought he was going to do. But it's the hardest thing in the world to do as a footballer.
Well, I think at that time as a fan, we couldn't believe what we were watching because we just got promoted and we hit the ground running that season. Remember watching Match of the Day and Alan Hansen was eulogising about us, saying, "Dear me, I've never seen a team so fluent in the final third so early in the season." We were putting teams to bed quite comfortably, and then obviously it changed a little bit when Gino arrived, and the dynamic was completely gone after that. But no, it was refreshing, it was brilliant, and the link-up play was something I've never seen, for a long while, until now when we got Carrick, and the Carrick ball is in full swing. So yeah, long may that continue.
And look, while you're on there, guys, and you've a nice little segue there, Bandy. But you've brought up obviously about Michael Carrick and the way that he's playing, and Philip Cushion has said, look, why does Michael Carrick insist on playing from the back when most of the clubs have figured out if you press as a team, there is a mistake in Boro waiting to happen? What's your thoughts on that, Bandy? Before I ask Higgy.
Well, I think as a manager, you've got to come in and you've got to have a work ethos and play to a certain style. And if you go against that, people might start questioning, oh, he's unsure, he doesn't know what he's doing. So I think you've just got to drum it into the players that that's the way we're going to play. I read a great tale about Carlos Puyol at Barcelona when Pep got the full-time job at Barca. And he said, look, you're going to drop deep, you're going to be playing pretty much on the line. Valdez is going to give it to you, and you're going to play out. And he just looked at him completely clueless, saying, "That's not the way I play, boss." But within 10, 20 games, he'd got used to playing like that, and it was just almost telepathic after that. So I think that players can adapt, but yeah, I think there is a place in the game for that type of football, and I think it suits us, and it's more aesthetically pleasing, to be honest. It's great to see when it comes off, and I think that's the way we've got to continue.
What do you think, Craig?
My thoughts are similar, because I think what he's talking about, Puyol there, he's one of the best defenders in the world, one of the best players in the world, who's playing at
also a dark
well,
arts master as well.
I'm glad you got that right. It was, but I think, we've seen it last year, particularly against Chelsea. When you come up against someone who's quicker than you, who's better than you, better technically than you, then you've got to have a different way of playing.
Yes.
I think in the Championship, I love to see it, because it can be really attractive to watch. And when you play through a press, you're right onto the back four there, and you make chances easy.
Yeah,
the times I struggle with it is when you're playing against the better quality teams who are, like I said, bigger, faster, stronger, better technically, just better players all round. I think then you need a different way of playing through a line if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And playing through lines doesn't always mean you give it to the centre half, and he's got to then give it to the midfielder, and he's then give it either wide or up front. You can give it to a centre half, and he could drop it into a striker, or you could do something a little bit different with
and am I right? Sorry, Bandy,
I didn't mean to interrupt. As a team, and then you can throw a ball into a striker or throw a ball wide.
And am I right in saying, though, because I've heard you say a couple of times, and tell us about when you say talking about setting traps. What's that about?
Yeah, so setting traps is when are you going to press a team? So if I'm an opposition manager and I'm watching Middlesbrough, I'll say let them spread out at the back, let the keeper throw the ball out to a centre half, and then as soon as he plays that first pass, we're going to go, or we're going to let him play the first pass, and the first one into midfield, that's when we'll go. So you'll set a trap where you'll cut maybe the furthest man. If the keeper gets it, throws it out to a right centre back, your wide right man would come in, and he'd make the pitch really small, and you would start condensing the area, and then when they're trying to force things through, that's when you'll go and you'll close them down. As soon as you win it, you spread out, because they're all out of position then, because they're spread out as well. So as soon as you win it, you're in and you're on the back four, especially if you're getting it from their defence. So it's about when do you press and how you press, and teams do it different. All teams do it differently. Do you press from your centre forwards? Do you press from your wide men? Do you don't? Do you all drop back, and then your two midfielders might be the ones who set the press off? So there's loads of different ways you can do it. There's certain ways that Middlesbrough will be able to play through a certain press, but there's another certain press that they'll struggle to play, and they'll keep giving it away, and people will keep nicking it and making chances. That's the bit that frustrates me a little bit, Bandy.
Yeah, I got frustrated in the Chelsea game away, because obviously prior to that we played a back three, and we looked pretty damn solid, to be fair. We beat them at home 1-0, and then for some strange reason Carrick twisted it around a bit. He had Howson sort of playing a double role really, as a centre back plus as a CDM, and it just all went to pot that night. They got a couple of quick goals, and then, like you said earlier, sometimes you maybe do need to change it, but we carried on playing the same way, and we took an absolute walloping.
And in hindsight, though,
we'll learn from that.
Yeah, no, exactly. But in hindsight as well, Graham, if you remember, at the Riverside, they probably could have scored 3 or 4 goals that night.
Yeah, they could.
You know what I mean? And we could have had the same thrashing that we got when we were away as well.
I tell you what, that doesn't. The bit that worries me, and I seen Sunderland do it when they played Newcastle in the Cup. Kept trying to play out. Newcastle just kept trying to close spaces. They were too quick for them. Got the ball. As soon as they get the ball, they're open up, and it could have been anything. Yeah. It's when I see an inferior side trying to do it to a superior side. That's the bit that frustrates me. Yeah. Yes, try it.
I definitely see that.
You know what I mean?
It's a no-go zone then, isn't it?
Absolutely. But then your argument will be, well, how are we supposed to play? We can't just keep lumping it and get. Yes. Well, there's different ways. You don't have to lump it. There's still different ways you can play out. You can ask your midfielders to come and get the ball and just drop it over the top if you've got a front three and the 2 are wide, then your centre forward can come and drop it, and your 2 midfielders can spin and try and start attacks like that. Your wide men are still high, so if your centre forward gets it, plays it to a midfielder who knows it's going to go there and he's spun, he can then play it wide for runners. So there's different ways of playing against a press like that, against a better team. Yeah. But if you keep asking...
Akpom was great at it. Where he was dropping really deep. Yeah. Kane does it for England a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then you've got your wide runners.
Yeah, and I don't mean drop deep past your midfielders. Yeah, yeah. I mean just in that little space when your midfielders have gone short and the 2 midfielders have gone with them to try and close them and stop them playing out. that's where all the space is. So it's half the times just recognising where the space is with your movement.
So is that safe to say, Higgy, that's the same sort of space you used to try and sort of accommodate?
Yeah, so I would start wide and drift into that space. Yeah. So I'd start wide and fullbacks think they've got you. And then when you start drifting, who has you then? You know, is it a centre midfield player who has you, who doesn't really want to leave his man?
And if he doesn't pass you on or whatever, then
So you're always trying to get in little half positions where people don't want to close you down. Centre halves don't want to come out to you. The fullback doesn't know whether he should come in and leave your fullback to go on the outside of him and hope that the winger tracks him. So you're playing games all the time on the pitch.
So, Graham, while you're on, and obviously let's do this because for those people who don't know, Bandy is an absolutely fantastic artist. And I'm right in saying, have you just launched your second calendar? Is that right? Yeah? Ready in time for the new year, for 2025.
So this year I've been working on a Riverside 2025, which is out now because it makes good business sense to get a calendar out very early.
Definitely.
And it coincides with 30 years next year at the Riverside, bizarrely.
That is mad, isn't it? 30 years.
Yeah, but that just happened by coincidence because last year, for this year, I did an Eartham 2024. It was just nice to sort of hark back to Eartham Park. I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I do love my old grounds, and so Higgy played at Eartham as well. And the crossover now with Higgy, he's also played at the Riverside as well, and not only played there but got the first goal as well, which was a surreal moment really to see as a fan. At that time, a Boro player scoring in a new ground, it's like, what is going on here?
Tell you a very quick story of that on the first game. So we played Chelsea. I was working at South Cleveland Garages at the time, and literally we got tickets through the club to come and see the game. And Colin Herbert was my used car sales manager, and literally he was coming as well. But the guys were always playing tricks. So literally we're about 10-3, just settling down. An announcement came out and it was like, "Can Colin Herbert please contact the steward?" And he went and found and said, "Oh look, the guys at the garage, there's a problem back the thing." He went out and he couldn't get back into the game, and he missed the first game, and he's absolutely devastated. And poor lad, and Colin now he's like, unfortunately, he's got dementia, and I go and see him in at home and that, but he still has memories. He'll still relate to some of the things and still remembers that day, and he was laughing. But I just remember, and I feel bad because we were like that. He missed the first game at the Riverside when we beat Chelsea, which is absolutely devastating. I mean,
every Boro fan you speak to will remember that moment. I remember it crystal clear. Bambi got free on the left. He made a little darting run, just squared it. Higgy just smashed it first time. Did you shut your eyes, Higgy?
Yeah, shut my eyes. Come off me left toe, hit me outside of my right boot, and went in the top corner. It looked amazing, to be fair. When you look at it now, it looks like a right good finish.
Every time I see that Shearer goal for England against Holland, the 4-1, I always think of you.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that about that goal.
Top corner. Yeah, it's a banging goal, mate. Honestly, it's brilliant.
Bandy, how can Boro fans get these calendars? Come on, this is an opportunity for you to sell those calendars. Come on, put it out there on the red.
Yeah, I've just lost you there. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you? I'm just saying, just let the fans know exactly how they can get hold of a calendar.
I've got an online shop on my website. So my website is grahambandeira.co.uk. Nice and simple.
Oh, nice.
And then my Twitter name is just @GrahamBandera.
Fantastic. And listen, honestly, I know I've sort of been following you for a long time and seeing some of that, and honestly, some of the images that you come up with, it's just like it evokes memories. Some of the stuff that you done for Eartham Park last year was amazing. And one of the things, obviously, was speaking about that was you done the stand with South Cleveland Garages on the back, and just like that, just takes you back to the 80s, and it really does. It sort of the 80s, 90s. It does evoke memories when you see the pictures that you come up with. It really does.
No, thank you. Well, with this one, it's not just images of the ground. It's the surrounding area. We've got the navigation pub, the transporter bridge, the structures and the statues outside the ground. So, yeah, it's just something to sort of tug on the heartstrings a little bit, a bit of memorabilia. Everybody likes that sort of stuff.
No, they do. Well, listen, Bandy, it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much for coming on. Listen, before we always do it, we ask you, what's your prediction for Saturday against Preston?
Oh, we've got to bounce back from... Well, obviously, we got a great result at Cardiff. The last home game, it was obviously a joke. I won it in the cup, but we'll forget about that one because I think that had different circumstances. The 2-2 with Portsmouth was a lively game, but we did look a bit open. But I think we're clicking into gear now, so I think a 2-0 comfortable win. goal in each half, maybe.
I'll go with that. That's fantastic. Well done, Bandy. Thanks very much for your time. Don't forget, great. So grahambandera.co.uk, is that right?
Yeah, let me send you a couple of calendars as well. So if Higgy leaves his address for you, you just text it out, send him one on.
No
Maddo's
problem.
got one.
No, listen, that's really appreciated. Thanks very much indeed. Listen, grahambandera.co.uk, you can get your calendars. Thanks very much, Bandy. Lovely to speak to you. Look, we're going to go for a break. Thanks very much to Graham there. And honestly, check it out. Check out his website, grahambandera.co.uk. We'll have a little break and we'll be back after that talking Craig Hignett and talking with you, the Boro fans. Keep it here. It's Red Radio. It's not Slavin Live, it's Higgy Live. And Philip Cushion has messaged in again. Obviously, he messaged earlier about them playing from the back, and he's got to be in his bonnet as Philip. Philip, you should call us 0330 043 2002. Give us a call and you can talk to Higgy direct. Totally agree with what you're saying, but in the few games Boro have played, we've lost points by simple errors that could have been prevented. This is something that should be addressed.
I agree. I think every game there's a chance because of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Every game there's a chance.
We were talking about the Ehrenveen game as well, weren't we, when we watched the friendly?
Yeah. So they'll give chances away every game by trying to do it. I think that as a coach, there's got to be a line where you'll accept something, but there'll come a line where you'll go, right, we can't do that no more because we're not learning or we're not improving at it. I don't know where that line is for Michael. Only he will know that. But like I said before, I think the way he plays is really attractive and it's pleasing on the eye. If it starts costing you points, then I'm of the opinion you have to have a little look and tweak one or two things.
Yeah, you have to have a relook at it.
You don't have to stop your principles. Your principles still the same. We still want to play out and play our way through, but you can do that a different way.
No, definitely. And
it doesn't always have to come from a centre half to a centre midfield where people will go and press, and it's too predictable that way.
And Leslie Coates has been on, said, say hi to Higgy, speaking to him back outside Bannatyne's Ingleby with my girlfriend walking his dog. So he said, Leslie said hello. Look, I tell you what, we've got a caller on the line. I've got Trevor Jarville. Trevor, are you there?
Hello.
Hiya, Trevor.
Hiya, Trevor.
You've got Higgy with you. What do you want to ask Higgy?
Well, the first thing I'd like to say is Craig Hignett is a legend.
Yes, he is indeed, isn't he?
He's an absolute legend.
You're the ledge for remembering
I remember him. Crow Alexandrin when what they call him, Lenny Lawrence signed him 1992, I think it was.
Yeah, it was. You're right, Trevor.
That.
Yeah, you're right.
I've been a Boro fan since a season ticket holder, by the way, since 1972.
2 years before me, Trevor. I was 74. Me, April 13th, 1974. My first game, 8-year-old.
But to get to the point, I'm so annoyed with Middlesbrough Football Club. Michael Carrick is a great manager. He's got us playing some fantastic football. But why can we not score goals? We scored 2 goals in open play. It's absolutely disgraceful, and it really, really annoys me to death.
Trev, just a question, right? Look, we're only like 4 games in. Can you not give me like a little bit of, are you not thinking that, look, it's only early and maybe it just takes a little bit of time and then hopefully they're going to click and start firing? Maybe. What do you think?
Do you think that'll happen?
Listen, I'm like you probably. I'm a Boro fan. I'm a realist, and like I'd love it to happen. Yeah, my heart says it will happen. My head says maybe. But look, listen, I'm going to put it out there. I've got a feeling this year. I really do think, and I believe that we've got a great opportunity. That's all I'm going to say. I think he's developed a squad. He's got some great players. He's added to last year, and look. I think if the players listen to Michael Carrick and they do what he's asking them to do and they're playing the style that he wants them to play, then look, there's no reason why we can't be up there at the end of the season. Where we are, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you now, I'll be very, very disappointed if we don't finish in the top 6 with the squad we have got.
So, Trevor, let me ask you a question. The signings that we've made, all the attacking players that we've signed, are you happy with them?
Yes, I am. So I'm not putting the ball in there, Craig.
Exactly. So if we're happy with them, and I don't think they're up to full fitness yet, if I'm honest, Trev. And like you,
stopping you from speaking, Craig. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but I do. We have created the most chances in the championship.
Absolutely. We had 28 shots one game.
We've created 60 chances, shots on goal and all that. And we've scored 2 goals from open play, 2 penalties. It's disgraceful.
I don't even think we've scored an open play yet, have we?
No,
there was one. There was one against Cardiff, but it was an own goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So technically, we haven't.
No, it would have been, but yeah, you're right. It was an own goal, so
and it was off target, by the way. So, but Trevor, let me tell you, because I half agree with what you're saying. I think you need at least one, like we had Tuba, who will be your regular scorer, who will get 15
hang on,
to 20.
Something you again.
Go on.
Tuba Akpom, when he played for Boro, he had the what they call that left winger.
Oh, he had Giles. Listen, he had Giles, Archer, Ramsey, and I'm not saying he didn't have it, but I think these lads can do that. These lads can be what Ramsey was, or Archer, or Giles. I don't think we've got a Tuba in that form who's going to get 30 plus, but they've got people who can create. If they're creating chances, like you've said they've had 60 odd shots, then at some point you've got to say, well, is it the players who aren't good enough? Is it the type of shots that we're having? Are we having them from miles out and no chance of scoring? Or do we have to go and change them because they're not good enough? And so you've got 3 options. Definitely. But I think they've got with enough firepower to score regular. And if you've got one who's going to go 15 or 20, I was hoping Latty Lath would continue the form that he had at the end of last season, where he was scoring for fun. He hasn't quite done it yet. You know, he's got his goal. Matt Clark's the top scorer, isn't he?
Excuse me. Do you think he wants to be away?
Without knowing him, Trev, I can't say yes or no. I would, if he doesn't want to be away, we will find out in the next few weeks, because his form will dip and you'll start hearing things coming out about, he's not training well, or this and that. And so but I think he's the type of lad who'll just get his head down and crack on. I'd be surprised if he wasn't.
No, and that's sort of what Carrick said, and it came across when Carrick said that, like, look, literally, he was like, when the bid came in from him from Ipswich, they just said, look, you know, when your head's not in the game, let's stay here, because they were trying to sort it out. It didn't get sorted out. As soon as it wasn't happening, he was like on the phone to Carrick saying, I want to be there and I want to be back with the squad, and went there. But just a question to ask you, Craig, is that you're playing under a few managers, and when someone's knocking on the door and they're getting a lot of chances, right? I hear the phrase from managers saying, well, look, he's getting in the right positions. It's going to come. So the fact that we're creating 28 chances...
Yeah, you can only say it's going to come for so long, can't you?
Yeah, no, I get
before
that.
It has to come.
But what I'm trying to get to is the point is that not a good thing that we're creating those chances?
Yeah, the time to worry is when you're not creating anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're feeding off bits. Boro are creating things, and I think they will get better, because there's a lot of players who've come in, and a lot of players who need to get up to speed. I think Doak will make a big difference. Yeah. Trevor, I don't know if you've seen Ben Doak, but he's really direct, and he could cause havoc.
Craig, this is another thing that annoys me. We're talking about Ipswich here. Ipswich, the Middlesbrough Football Club are far bigger than Ipswich Town.
They are, Trevor, but at the moment...
God give me bloody strength.
I know, Trev, but at the moment...
What's he doing want to go to Ipswich?
Ipswich are in the Premier League, and they're in the Premier League, and that's the difference, and that's where the money is, isn't it?
It's money.
No, without a doubt, it's money.
It's got to be money, Trev. It can't be anything else other than money, both for Boro.
But Ipswich Town are no bigger club than us.
No, they're not. I totally agree. Ipswich Town will end up back in the Championship next year, without a doubt.
Yeah, but we are a far bigger club than Ipswich Town.
I would agree. Let me ask you this though, Trev, because I've been, there's some people who, you know, I've said, I can't believe you said that, where I said if we'd been offered 20 million for Latty Lath, I'd let him go, whether he wants to go or not, regardless of how he feels. I'd let him go for £20 million, because I think I could get better.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, apparently, that that was the bid on the table, and Gibson turned round and said that he wasn't accepting 20 million. He wasn't letting him go because he wants to challenge for the title this season. That's the news that's coming out.
Listen, that's brilliant. You know, you want your chairman to be ambitious, and you want him to be turn down bids from anyone. Not bothered who it is. I'll turn down bids from you. That's brilliant. I get that. From a point of view, if I was manager and if the club, I could take that 20 million quid and you would get a better player than Latty Lath. You know,
we've got the best chairman in the country.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt, Trevor. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Would you let Larty La go for 20 million?
Yeah.
Really?
I would. Yeah, 100%.
Why?
Because I don't think you'll get offered anywhere near that for him in the future. And I don't think he's worth 20 million.
Well, yeah, it will be if he bangs another 20 goals in, though.
No, he'll be worth 20 million.
All right, okay, yeah,
if he scores another 20, he's not going to go up in price.
Yeah, no, I see. So he'd have to be
his ceiling.
30, yeah.
His ceiling is 20 million quid.
Okay.
No one's ever going to offer more than 20 million quid.
So where's the goals going to come from then?
Well, you're hoping that they're going to come from Conway, Hamilton, Doak, Isaiah Jones has got a chip in. We've got who's the other lad on the left? They've just got him from, who's that, Huddersfield?
Man City.
Oh, yeah, Barzong.
Yeah,
Bergzog, yeah.
So you've got Bergzog, you've got Marcus Forss to come back in.
Yeah.
You've got Riley McGree. So we've got so many attack-minded players who can all chip in with goals. If all of them score 7 or 8 goals each, you know, that's all you need.
Trev, what do you think?
They're not going to play at one side.
No, they're not. Trev, what do you think the score will be on Saturday? What's your prediction for Saturday's game?
I mean, Preston were the worst team I seen come down here last year.
Yeah, no, I remember.
They were awful. It was 4, I think, on the night.
The thing is, right, and this is true, and Craig will verify this because he knows he's been in a Boro shirt for a long time. We always get beat off the rubbish teams.
You're not wrong.
We do. I mean, have a look. The bottom 3 teams we've played this season.
Yeah.
They've took points off us.
Except Cardiff. They did they?
So what do you think the score will be, Trev? Come on, give us a prediction for Saturday. Come on.
2-0 to Boro.
2-0 to Boro. Listen, I love that. Listen, Trevor, don't be a stranger. Come and join us every Monday. Thank you very much. And lovely to speak to you. And thanks very much for your input. And thanks for speaking to Craig. We'll speak to you later. We'll speak to you next week when Bernie's back. All right. See you later, Trev. Up the Boro.
Ta-da.
See you, Trev.
So listen, Craig, a couple of messages in. Leslie Coates, I was watching the Boro in the 70s, 80s when we attacked as soon as we got the ball. Armstrong and Cragg soonest, bombing forward, not this crap, get up to the corner flag, then go back to the halfway line, trying to walk the perfect goal in. And then Sean Nellis has come on and said, hi lads, I think things will click. Players are getting used to each other, players to come back in, players pushing each other to get in the team, something we have lacked for a while.
I'd agree with that.
Two contrasting sort of stories.
Yeah, listen, football now has changed, so you can't hark back to the days when I was playing, even, because the game's changed since then. It's a lot more possession based now, and you know, I don't always think it makes for an exciting watch. I have to say, I prefer teams who win it, and if it's on, to go forward, play forward, and go and attack as quick as you can. And then if teams get back, then you can play the possession stuff. So I like fast flowing football. I like teams to play on the counter attack. I like them to attack really quick, but it's not always possible, and I get that, and it's physically demanding to do that as well. So you've got to pick your times when you do it and when you don't. And then if you don't, and you want to dominate the ball, because the more you've got the ball, the less chance you've got of getting a goal scored against you. And I get that's the way Boro play. You know, Boro are a possession-based team who like to keep it. And the times when you'll struggle is when you move the ball too slow, you don't go anywhere with it, and teams just get back and sit in a shape, and then suddenly you've got to go past all 10 outfield players before you score a goal. That's the bit where, as a player, you've got to understand what situation you're on the pitch. You know, are you on a counter attack? Can you break? Can you play a ball forward and cut a load of men out and get turned and go? Or is everyone backing in a shape and you've got to move the ball a little bit quicker, 1 and 2 touch, get it wide, switch it, to try and move players out of position? One of them might make a bad decision, try and close someone down, and then you'll play around him. Yeah. So you've got to understand what phase of the game you're in.
Yes.
You know, and that's not always easy to do, because it's going quick around you.
And Trevor mentioned there about, obviously, the teams at the bottom, and I've got a philosophy in this. It's like, when the teams at the bottom, week in, week out, they're battling to try and sort of get a point, to basically to be there, to stay there. And literally, if you don't match them in terms of battling performance, they're going to beat you, because they're better at it than most teams, because they're doing it week in, week out.
That is the first thing you've got to do, Al, is to match what the other team are doing.
Yeah.
Physically, you've got to match their running stats, you've got to match their aggression, everything about it you've got to match, and then your quality should see it come through. First goals are massive. I talk about this with John Hendry on a Friday night about how important first goals are. He's a big believer in it. Whoever scores the first goal has a massive advantage, because then if you're at the bottom of the table and you score the first goal, you've got something to hold on to.
Yeah.
And you'll fight a little bit harder. And then it becomes a little bit panicky with the team who are trying to get back on level terms. So
it's like Scotland last night, against Portugal.
But the best players, the elite players, doesn't matter.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if you go goal down. Doesn't matter if you score fair. They know what they're doing, and it doesn't faze them. They just keep doing what they do. And eventually, if you're a Man City or if you're a Liverpool or Arsenal, you wear teams down because of how quick you move the ball, because of the possession that you've got, because teams will chase and chase and chase. And to do that for 90 plus minutes and not have the ball is really difficult.
And I think that's what Michael is trying to do with the team, isn't he?
He's trying to batter teams with football.
No, without a doubt. Listen, we've got lots of callers lined up, so I'm going to go to the phones now. I've got Michael on the phone. Michael, are you there?
Yes, I am. It's Michael here with my son John as well, and thank you for allowing us to be on tonight. It's great. Been listening to the show, really enjoying it.
Are you all right, Craig?
Yeah, good, thank you.
So listen, I know you messaged earlier, Michael, and said that you met Higgy at the promotion anniversary with Merce last year, and you were obviously at the evening with Janino as well. So you're a bit of a stalker, aren't you? A bit of an Higgy stalker, really, aren't you? Eh?
Well, I was going to say something nice, but I might not now. What I was going to say was, particularly at the event, what I really liked, and Craig, you'll have met loads of people, and I don't expect you to remember this, but you actually took the time to sit down with my son and you chatted to him, and the two of you were laughing like little kids about something, and it was just like that down to earth stuff, which I just really love. So just thank you very much. You took the time to speak to him. Everyone there that night, Marco Branca, Gianluca Festa, just all gentlemen, as well as being top stars. You were gentlemen. So thank you very much for that.
That was a good group of lads. That was a good group of lads. You see that, and then
the Janino
now.
You know more about that than I do. But then the Janino event, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I suppose you are in a way right about. We are a bit of a stalker because we went to the Sedgefield the day after to make sure that we saw Janino as well. So maybe we do need something to talk to us about. But no, just listen, absolutely brilliant, and well done to the Red and all for sorting things out like that. So the two of you are on stage, absolutely brilliant. Great memories for me and my son. So thanks for that.
Oh no, it's our pleasure. It's great thinking about the past, because it's, people always say to me, but you get sick of talking about football, don't you? But I don't, because I love it, and I love the football club and what we did when we were there. So it's something I'm proud of, and I'll talk to anyone. You know what I'm like. And
so tell us, Michael. What would you like to talk to Craig about? Obviously, I know you've seen him a few times over like that. What's the sort of burning question? I'll just while you're on, I'll just give you a couple of we've had a couple of messages on social media. So Sean Nellis said, I agree, Craig. Take 20 million for Latte. He's not irreplaceable. Ian James Barron said, question: do you think players are overcoached and the instinct in front of goal is gone? I do. Rye, as Stephen Francis Sonnelly, who'll be coming on after this, has just put Hamilton. I don't know what he means by that, but we'll ask him when he comes on. And Dan Gray, I know, has said, who would you buy with the 20 million? There isn't another player we could bring in that will get 20 goals. Gibson would not reinvest the full amount.
Latte Lath hasn't got 20 goals?
No. No.
He didn't get 20 goals last year.
No.
I think there's a key word there that's missed, and it's composure. My son and I sit in section 14A at the Riverside, and why I'm telling you that stat for is that before kick-off, that's where the practice goals are set up, and towards the end, the shooting practice, and we watch them all banging them in. I mean, yes, there's a few that do go into the nets before row X, but just let's take Josh Coburn for example. He was banging them in left, right, and centre, and then the Stoke game, first chance he gets, and he's down, and he sort of, to me, although no disrespect to him, it was easier to miss. It was easier to score than it was to miss, and so to me, it's the composure of being in that tense situation where you're thousands and thousands of people are watching you, more on TV as well. Whereas when they're practicing, they go in every top bin, every bottom corner. So I think it's the composure and sometimes the snatch at it. I mean, in the Portsmouth game, Latte Lath was through to potentially make it 2-2 before half time. he just didn't quite know what he wanted to do. He got caught up with it in his feet, and the chance had gone. So I think, as well as having the skill and the ability to finish, you've also got to have the skill to deal with the pressure and therefore implement that composure under pressure. And I think that's what we're lacking at the moment. I mean, I sort of agree with what Trevor said before about, we should be finishing, but I also agree with the fact that I think it's probably a little bit too early to be sort of say, oh, come on, lads, and time will tell. But we've got some great players. It's just, I think what I see is it's that they tend to like snatch. It's the anxiousness in front of goal. Do you think that, John?
Well, I wonder whether Lat's actually a striker if he's in the correct position, because he's got pace to him, he's got skill to him. He tries to take men on when he has the opportunity to, but he can't finish, and that's the only part of his game where I think like he should improve on. If we put him to either side, probably the left. If we put him to the left and let Bergzorg or Conway go through the middle, and whether he creates the chance and lets Bergzorg or Conway finish it off, because their finishing has been proved to be better than Lat's.
Yeah, Marcus Forss finishing as well.
Yeah, I think he's our best finisher.
He was the best finisher for me when I seen. And it's interesting you say that. The thing I like about Lath, and I do like him as a footballer, is he always wants to threaten him behind. Not many people now that you see are willing to go in behind all the time. They all want the ball to the feet and they want to get turned and do something. Whereas Lath will play on the shoulder and he will run in behind, and that he loves doing it. And he puts people under pressure because he does it. So that's...
You're right, and he creates chances, but just at the moment, it's that
you can't finish.
It's that composure, that and then sort of just typical. The weekend gone, Coburn scores for Millwall, and you're thinking, and you're scratching your head. And I know that's happened many times before, but I just think it's how you. How do you teach that? How do you get that composure?
Well, it's funny because you've mentioned before about when you're watching the shooting before, they're going in this corner, that corner. And that's because they know no one's going to tackle them. So they relax. And they know that nothing's going to happen. So that they're really relaxed and they're just concentrating on what they do. And when you get into a game, you're suddenly thinking, if you don't know where someone is, you think, am I going to get tackled here or not? And it becomes a lot more tense.
Definitely. And probably the best example of that, and listen, I'm not a golfer, but I know you play golf as well, but it's like, look, sometimes when you have to do the shot, you don't do it and you can like that, and then suddenly as soon as you miss that first drive and it goes off to the right, you can bang a second one straight down the middle, goes straight as a die, and because the pressure's off, you relax. And I think you're right.
But you can't practice that because you can do it in training where someone is in, but it's not a game. There's no jeopardy in it.
No.
Whereas in a game it matters, it counts. So
and at the moment we're not scoring when it's counting. I mean, and you could say, well, that's the whole thing. I get that.
Point of the game, but it's all the best goal scorers, and you'll hear the phrase loads of times. They've got ice in their veins. They get the chance, and suddenly nothing matters around them. They just concentrate on what they're going to do. They pick the right option, and finish. And it is exactly that. I keep saying about Darwin Núñez, he's similar to Lath for me. Better quality, but similar, because he will run in behind all day long. He will try 100% every single game. And then when he gets a chance, everything's still 100 mile an hour, and he'll snatch at things, or he'll pick the wrong option. Somewhere along the way, he's going to score a load of goals, Darwin Núñez. Because he has too many chances not to.
Without doubt.
And for me, he's similar, but obviously much better quality than Lath. Lath is in that similar bracket for me, where he's 100 mile an hour all the time.
Yeah.
And just needs to when he gets in, just take a breath.
A little bit. We had a similar one, didn't we, Traore, before?
Well, Adama,
very, very similar.
Yeah.
Michael, John, just conscious of time, obviously I didn't realise it flies by. Give us your predictions for the week, and obviously the fact that we're saying you're not scoring, you're probably going for a 0-0 draw, aren't you?
No,
we're hoping there'll be composure, and we're going to, we agree so far, I think 2 or 3-0, I think.
Well, I think 3-1, because we never make things easy. But I think this might be the right time to play Preston. I mean, they sacked Ryan Lowe, they've got Paul Hickenbottom in. They went 1-0 up against Oxford and lost 3-1. They're down on confidence a bit. I mean, yes, they've had the international break, but whether that's enough to change things,
boys, is it the first game with the new manager though? Is it this week, the game against us? Is that the first game with the new manager?
No.
All right. Oh God, no, because you know what normally happens there. Listen, so you're saying 2-0 and 3-1, is that right? Yeah?
3-1, yeah. Well, I'll go with 3-1 because he knows more about that than me.
Oh, well,
just finish off by saying, if you don't mind, I think it's sort of a shout out to me so far, the best player been by a country mile. Matt Clark's been
Matthew Clark, man, without a doubt. Head and shoulders, excuse the pun, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Listen, thanks very much for your time, lads. Lovely to speak to you.
Yeah.
See you later, lads.
No problems at all. Brilliant, thank you.
Call.
Look, Craig, we're going to go to a very, very quick break. We've got Steve Jackson in from 12th Man. We're going to be speaking to him. I've got Rye, who I need to speak up to as well. So we'll have a little break and then we'll... Okay, it's not Slaven Live. It is actually Higgy Live because Bernie's still on holiday in Portugal. Sorry, I better put that up.
I hope he is still alive.
Yeah, definitely he is. So look, I'll tell you what we're going to do is time is against us. We've got Steve Jackson from 12th Man. We're going to bring him in and introduce him in a minute, Steve. But in the meantime, I've got Rye from Plymouth, I believe. Rye, is that right? And listen, I've got people like out in your ear saying you're a Liverpool fan, so please, come on.
Yeah,
this is your chance. No, nothing wrong with being a Liverpool fan, but look, Rye, tell us a fact. Are you a Boro fan or what?
I am a Boro fan. I mean, Plymouth's my main team, Middlesbrough's my second team. Obviously, like the connections between the two grandfathers. So yeah, that's the reason why I support two teams, Plymouth Argyle and Middlesbrough.
Understand you can hear that you're definitely a Plymouth Argyle fan by your twang. So listen, what's your question for Craig? What have you got? What do you want to ask Craig tonight, Rye?
So obviously you know a lot about the lone players like Bandor coming in and Micah Hummer coming in as well. What's your feelings towards them? Because obviously you know a little bit more about them.
Yeah, I mean, Hamilton is one I haven't seen that much of. I have seen him play. He's more of a tricky winger, one who's got quick feet, who can go past people, who can open things up. He has got a goal in him. I think, without seeing a boatload of him, I think he's a really good sign. And there was loads of people who were on about trying to get him. Boro have managed to get him from Man City, which I think is a bit of a coup for them. Ben Doak is someone who I have seen a lot of and know what he's all about. And I keep saying it, very direct, very quick, not scared, takes risks with the ball, got a goal in him. You can see by, he's already an international at such a young age. He is a really young player who hasn't played regularly in a first team. This will be his first taste, if you like, of first team football week in, week out. He's played 10 times for Liverpool first team, so that tells you a little bit about the quality that he's got. But I think he could be one. He's ready for me to go either massive or find his level, and I think what he's got, he could be a wild card for Middlesbrough, and he could be the difference this season between Boro doing something really special and not. All depending on how quick he finds his feet. I don't want to put too much pressure on the kid, you know what I mean? Because it is his first taste of first team football. But he's one who I'm really excited about being here. So hopefully, the fans will get to see him and see what he's all about. He's not going to be brilliant every week, and he's not going to win you games every week, because he's young and by their nature they're up and down a little bit. But I think, to be able to get him in the first place is brilliant. And moving forward in the future, that stands the club in good stead, because if they look after Ben and give him the minutes and stuff that he wants, Liverpool have got an unbelievable amount of talent in their younger ranks that, Boro could maybe tap into in years to come.
Got another quick question for you as well, Higgy. Obviously, I know a lot about Finn Azars and all that. And
yeah, well, you've seen him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I've seen him firsthand. And his last goal for Argyle was against Watford on New Year's Day, and then Aston Villa recalled him back and then sold him to Boro. What's your feelings towards Finn Azars?
Well, when he first signed, I think he's took a little bit of time to get going, but I think this season, and particularly, I mean, the last game against Cardiff, he was outstanding. But he's played really well anyway this season, and I think we're starting to see the real Finn Azars and what he can do. Again, another forward-thinking player. He's made some really good runs, picks up some great areas, gets turned, can play people through. Has got a goal in him, although we haven't seen it regularly yet for Boro. But I'm sure at some point, you know, he's a midfielder who I think should be scoring 10 maybe a season. But he started to show us what a good player he is, and I would think that's really from the start of this season, you know. And like I say, the last game, I thought he was outstanding, probably man of the match.
I thought that cross for Matt Clark to score the header was actually a pinpoint cross for him, and it's not very often that you get a pinpoint cross from Finazaz. I mean, he actually did score in the 3-3 at Home Park as well. So
yeah. Was he? How did you see him there? What type of player would you say he was, being a Plymouth fan as well?
Because both teams play total different style of football.
Yeah.
At the time, we were playing a back three, but wing backs with Finn in the middle of the three in midfield. So we played him as a central midfielder.
Was he always forward thinking though?
Yeah, he was always forward thinking. Yeah. I mean, he used to play the balls down the channels, get him in, get Ryan Hardy in, get Morgan Whittaker in. I mean, I could go on and list numerous players, but it's just and he was always had an eye for goal.
Yeah. How did the fans feel when he lost him, though, right?
We were absolutely gutted, because obviously the season before we lost Morgan Whittaker, and because Swansea recalled him back because they were looking at offers from Rangers for him, but that never materialised. And then in the summer of last season, we bought him in for £1 million, and yeah, he was the club's top scorer last season with 19 goals, and now he rejected Lazio in January. I'm and then Burnley came in for him on loan with an obligation to buy him.
Yeah, and
I'm this is a player that we bought in for 1 million, and he could potentially make us 12, 15 million.
Which would be brilliant, wouldn't it, for you guys? And obviously it would give you a boost. Listen, I'm just conscious of time, Ryan. I really appreciate you coming on. I want to speak to Steve from 12th Man. So, look, what's your prediction for Saturday's game against Preston? Tell us what you think the score's going to be, Ryan.
So, the last two seasons, Boro have played Preston at home. It's been 4-0. I'm going to go for another 4-0.
Oh, well, listen, I'm on with that. Well done. Thanks very much. Up the Boro, Ryan. Lovely to speak to you. Thank you. Take care, mate. Take care. Right then, we're joined by Steve Jackson from 12th Man. Steve, how are you doing? All right, mate?
Yeah, we're doing good.
No, brilliant. And listen, look, I know we've gone past 7. I'm just going to stay on for a couple of minutes because, look, the boss is away, so I'm not really bothered. And they can't do anything. It's like, I can ring me up afterwards and say he shouldn't have done that. But look, I think you're right. It's great. And the Boro fans are really, you know, I worked at the foundation for 5 years, and, you know, the Boro fans are basically, if they've got £1, then they'll give 50p of it if they can or whatever to help. And you know what I mean? They're always willing to be supportive. So look, if you can help, bring along. Look, the food bank. Listen, we shouldn't be talking about food banks in this world that we live in today, but unfortunately that's the situation because of rising prices, etc. Then we're seeing a lot of people who actually are struggling. So something like this is really big help, isn't it? And I know that it stays in Teesside for Teesside, which is great. So look, tell us what's your thoughts and views about Saturday. I know you're going to talk about it obviously on the podcast, but what do you think about Saturday and about the result? I love the fact that Ryan's thinking 4-0. I am definitely getting on that, to be fair, with me 10p bet.
I love his confidence, I really do. Would you have a good record against Preston at home? You know, we haven't lost many at home against them. You know, we usually do quite well, especially in the bigger games as well. When we need a win, we seem to get 3 points against them. I won't go as far as 4-0, but it's another big game. I know. I mean, I haven't looked at the table yet, so I couldn't even tell you where we are. Don't look until October. Never have, never will. But 7 point start is a good start. You know, it's better than last season. If we can build on that, get another 3 points, especially with the lads up the road next up. You know, we need some momentum to go into that.
No,
they're flying.
Definitely, they are. But again, it's like, listen, I know people are saying they're flying, and Craig, you'll come in on this. Is like, look,
they are,
I know. But there's always a team that goes out there at the beginning of the season.
They're a young side. They're a really young side, and they haven't had any adversity yet. So as soon as they get the first bad result or the first thumping, you'll see the real character of that side,
without doubt, and that's what happens in the Championship. You get a breath of reality. You know,
at some point, listen. The season isn't always plain sailing all the way through to promotion. There's ups and downs. You'll go through really good highs where you might win 5 or 6 and the bounce and everyone's loving it, and then you go and you can't win a game for 4 or 5, and you'll think, what's going on here? That's what the Championship. I remember when we got promoted. We went to Nottingham Forest, got done 5, and then went to QPR and got done 4, back to back. And people are thinking, they've shot it, haven't they? They're not right. They've lost the plot. And I'd never blame Andy Dibble, but they were the only 2 games that Andy Dibble played in the season. So what a great lad he was as well. But it wasn't. We just had an absolute nightmare of a 2 games.
Listen, I remember, and look, you're a professional footballer, and I know a lad who I know who played at Darlington, Michael. In fact, Paul, his name is. Sorry, I've got his name wrong. Paul Campbell, and Paul played there, and what he said was, it's like, if when you're going into games, if you don't have the right mindset, so you only need 1 or 2 of your players just not to be switched on, and that, and I'm like, no, there's no way that 2 players can make a difference, but it makes a massive difference. If you've got 2 players who aren't giving 100%, then it can take a lot out of a team, and we see it so many times. You know what I mean? You see it sometimes when, especially we talked about earlier, top plays bottom. When if you aren't matching them for their goal, their bite, their ability to get stuck in, you're going to get beat, and that's what happens. And that's what happened last year. Definitely. Yeah. Hopefully we've turned that around with this year. I hope.
Well, it's all that, isn't it? A team, as a midfielder, you might think, I don't feel great today, so a ball might get played out wide, and you might think, the centre half will go and get that. Whereas, really, it's your job, and I'm going to, get out there and fill a hole. And you don't do it. Someone plays in behind you, scores a goal. That's what it can take, especially the higher up you go. So, and if you look at the Premier League now, no one does it. No, everyone does everything to the letter. You get no one who's shaking, no one who's hiding, no one who doesn't run. No, it's no.
Apart from Everton.
Well, listen, it's no coincidence that if you look at the stats compared to Championship sides and Premier League sides, a Premier League side will run all over a Championship side.
No, without doubt.
And that's why they're playing in the Premier League. That's why all players play in the Premier League, because they do things properly and they do it week in, week out, and they never have a blip. If you have a blip, you get punished.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You can have a blip in the Championship and you might get away with it.
Yeah.
But you'd be lucky. If you have 2 or 3 in your team who are all the same, you're not going to get away with it.
No, and look, we know through past experiences, you get 3 wins on the trot in the Championship, you can go from bottom to top. You lose 3 on the trot, you go from top to bottom.
That's different to having an off day.
Yeah.
Because having an off day, you're still doing what you should do.
Yeah.
But you're just having an off day. Things aren't going right. Your touch isn't there, or your passing's wrong. But if you get 1 or 2 who just aren't quite at it, that's different to having an off day.
Listen, guys, time has unfortunately beaten us, and the red light's flashing, so I am getting a warning like that. So look, Steve, just to say, so you're in on Thursday with the Big Red Boro pod, is that right? So Steve will be back on Thursday night with talking his views from 12th Man, but also with the rest of the Boro socials there on our Big Red Boro pod, which goes out Thursday evenings between 6 and 7.
Just before we go out, can I ask Steve, would you sell Latty Laugh for 20 million?
No.
Mad.
There you go.
It's going to be worth 30 in about 6 months. No.
There you go.
In 6 months?
In 6 months.
I'll take that bet. What do you want?
About 20 quid right now if you want.
Oh, there we go.
I'd take it right now, probably.
Well, I'm there, so listen.
20 quid, there you go.
There we go, and I've seen that. Exactly. So,
and listen, 20 quid ready.
And Craig, you're back on Friday night with the 2 H's. It's the 2 legends, the local legends, Higgy and Henry on a Friday night, talking about the game, obviously, on Saturday against Preston. Listen, I just want to say thanks very much for your time tonight. I could sit here all night. I'm like you, I love talking football, and I could sit here all night and talk about the Boro, because that's the one thing that brings us all together. We all love the Boro, which is brilliant. So listen, thanks very much for your time, and we'll play out with this, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Good night.